Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Turned Out a Punk Classics, a show where we take old episodes of Turned Out a Punk that have been lost from the internet and return them to their previous glory by sticking them back on the feed. You can find this podcast on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all other forms of social media. Well, that's pretty much it. At Turned Out a Punk. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at LeftForDamian. I play in a band. More information can be found at fuckedup.cc. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy another TOAP Classic.
Damn it. How many guys were there?
I don't know. There was like 6.
Oh, that's a lot. Holy shit.
Then the security holding people. And it only went on for a minute.
Yeah.
It's a super long minute.
Yeah, definitely. That's so crazy. Oh my god.
It's like I'm covered up and I'm just like.
Yeah.
You know, but it also started going so well at first. Like I did a couple moves and they worked, right?
Yeah,
and I'm
totally.
Like, I'm the good guy in this situation.
Totally.
You know, like these are the bad people.
Yeah.
But no, in the end, the bad people kicked the fucking shit out of me.
Sucks.
So.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Cassie, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You're someone I've wanted to have on for a super long time. It's like kind of before Katie was on, but definitely post Katie being on because, you know, as she mentioned, you're like kind of like the Pied Piper for herself and definitely like led a charge for a bunch of kids getting into music. And then also, not only that, you're a unbelievable musician in your own right and have played in some really important bands.
Thank you.
And someone I've toured with.
Yes. Yeah, many times.
Many times.
Great tours. Love it.
Yeah, many weird shows, many weird shared experiences and stuff like that. And but it's been awesome to have you on the show.
Thank you so much.
And I'm sure we'll get into all that later on. Probably not in this one. Probably in part 2 eventually.
Oh, yeah.
I have a feeling this will go long. But I want to start this off the way I start them all off, which is, and hopefully that refrigerator stops at some point, which is, how did you get into punk?
Well, I would say that...
Do you remember the first time you ever heard it or came across it even?
Okay, well, when I was in middle school, it was like the late 90s, and I was into like whatever alternative stuff they would play on the radio. I was like really into like Hole and like Nirvana and like Smashing Pumpkins and whatever. So like that was the kind of music that I loved when I was like, you know, in 6th and 7th grade. And then actually, at some point around there, I went to camp and I like had a crush on this guy who wore an Operation Ivy t-shirt and he had a NoFX patch on his hat. So then like I just thought he was like such a babe, and he was like a few years older than me. Like nothing ever happened. Like he probably wasn't interested in me at all, but like I just thought he was so hot. And then I like found a Hot Topic and I like bought a NoFX CD. And so then I was like really into like that kind of punk, and then my friend got me into emo. So then I was like pretty into emo for a while, and then like I don't know, I guess I was like into all that like high school subcultural, like all of it. I liked emo, I liked ska, I liked punk, I liked fucking like indie pop. I just like started getting really into like the more like obscure shit like more and more as I got older.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what was like when you kind of got into NoFX and stuff like that, which I guess is a lot of our gateway drugs.
Yeah.
You know, very appropriate with that band too,
yeah.
drugs. But where did you kind of, was that your first, you know, had you been into other music genres before? Like, were you buying CDs, I guess I should say?
Yeah,
before? Like Hole and Nirvana?
I was like an avid consumer of music since 3rd grade, I would say. Like when I was like really little, I really just like Disney musicals and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then in 3rd grade or like around that time, I like discovered the radio for the first time. And I was really into soft rock. That was like, I liked like the soft rock radio station with like Madonna and Billy Joel and stuff like that. And still love both Madonna and Billy Joel. And then somebody in my class told me that wasn't cool. So then like I started listening to Z100 and K-Rock, and like then I was like into like, you know, the popular music in like the mid 90s and late 90s, which was like a lot of rock based stuff.
You're like super young to be getting into that stuff. Were there other kids in your class that were into it too, or are you kind of like...
Yeah, everybody was into it. Everybody loved like Smashing Pumpkins and Alanis Morissette and No Doubt and everything like that. Yeah.
So where was your first kind of like music going to experience, like show wise?
My first
concert even.
Speaking of No Doubt, my first concert was a No Doubt concert when I was in 8th grade. It was with Suicide Machines opening, and I went into a mosh pit for the first time, and I was wearing a baby backpack, and I lost it. Like, so, like, somebody in the pit, like, you know, kind of got off my back, and I, like, didn't know anything about, like, you know, moshing or crowds at all, because I'd never been to a show before. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so that was my first concert, and then,
that would have been like I imagine it, you know, like mosh pits, even for those big concerts, I still would find a terrifying experience. Because it was
pretty scary. Like, I was into it, because I was, like, I'd never been to a concert before, and, like, I loved No Doubt so much at the time, and, but then after I lost my backpack, it was a huge bummer.
I can imagine that would put the damper on the whole show.
Definitely.
But, like, even, like, I look back on it now, and of course, you know, at the time I, like, loved it, but those mosh pits, there's just so many people in them. It's not even about moshing. It's more like getting caught in the sway. Totally, humanity and the crush. So where did you kind of go from sort of No Doubt and No Effects? Do you remember your first sort of localist show or smaller shows?
There were a lot of shows in my hometown, because I'm from Ridgewood, New Jersey, and, like, I don't know, a lot of people who I went to high school with, or a lot of people that I knew when I was in high school that, like, were from neighboring towns, like, you know, ended up getting to be in, like, pretty big indie bands like Real Estate and Titus Andronicus, and so all those people, like, all throughout high school would play locally. There's a show, like, at least twice a month, either in the high school or in somebody's backyard or basement, and so I started going to those shows in 9th grade, and then I think my second ever show at like a concert venue was, like, in New York City, and it was Not a Surf and Rilo Kiley and Ozma in 2002, maybe.
Ozma, were they that ska band kind of?
No, they're like they sound like Weezer.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. I like them.
Okay.
Yeah, they were, like, my favorite band for a second.
I don't even remember them at all.
Yeah.
They, I guess, were on a major, I would imagine. And...
They were on Kung Fu, is that the name of the record label?
Oh, they're the guy with the Vandal. I think Joe Escalante.
That label. They're on that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was a weird label too. Like Righteous Jams were on that.
Yeah. I barely remember anything about that label, but I was, like, on their, like, street team for a second or something.
That was definitely like a 90s thing when they always had these street teams.
Totally. I was on the street team.
You probably got some free sampler CDs.
I just wanted free Ozma stuff.
Yeah. You just got to work for those bands. That you like. I think that all ended when remember that Victory Records thing went out there? There was that email to their street team about a Treyu.
No.
Oh, it was like,
what happened with that?
It was like to their street team to, like, go and put a Treyu CDs in front of the Neo CDs.
Oh, man.
Local record store or something.
That is so deep.
I know. It seemed like that was the end of the street team. Maybe it'll come back. You know?
Yeah, totally. You should have a street team.
I know. Hey, I'll give you a free CD if you do that. If you promote my.
Totally. Amazing.
I think the currency of free CDs have devalued greatly.
True.
Since the 90s.
Yeah.
So yeah, you mentioned, like, you know, all the people from your high school forming bands. What were some of those bands? Do you remember?
Yeah. There's a band called Fletcher and the Sticky Wickets, which was the ska band. Mm-hmm. That one featured Martin from Real Estate, and they were, like, pretty good for a ska band. I still remember some of their songs, and they were pretty good. And then there's a band called Mark, like MARC.
Okay.
And that was a band that sounded kind of like Weezer. Like, Weezer was a very big band for, like, everybody in our high school. We all, like, loved Weezer.
Must have just hit New Jersey area really hard.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like,
it was popular everywhere, I guess.
Yeah, but, like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, like, I talked to a lot of, like, other people who grew up in other places about their, like high school, like, music experience. And if there was a scene, like, it would just be, like, screamo and, like, ska, and that was it or something. But, like, at my high school, like, I feel like people were making music, like, I look back on it and it's not embarrassing, like, at least not like it's just, like, I feel like people all around were making, like pretty decent indie rock, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And, like, even, like, the ska band, like, was good, and, like, I don't know, like, I feel like there were a lot of like really awesome bands in my high school, and it was a pretty cool environment to grow up in.
Well, yeah, because also you look at, you know, yourself, you know, people from Real Estate, people from Titus Andronicus. That's like, you know, that's like three major forces in independent music in the last few years coming out of the same sort of high school class.
It's pretty crazy, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like, I guess with, you know, Sticky Wickets and Mark, but you started a band, right? Like around then?
I did. I had a band called Upholstery, with my two best girlfriends and our one guy friend. And it was it was a really good band. I'm like proud of it still.
Yeah, Katie said you guys were awesome.
We were pretty cool. Like it's kind of like Beat Happening meets B-52s.
Oh.
It was like really lo-fi. Like we recorded everything on a 4-track, and but it was like really fun.
Yeah.
It was just like a fun band, like like 3 girls, 1 guy, and like we just kind of like wore crazy outfits and like did really weird stuff and like freaked people out. It was great.
When did you start playing? Like, how old were you when you started playing music?
I started on saxophone when I was 8.
Okay.
Then I started taking piano lessons when I was 11. I started taking guitar lessons when I was 13.
Wow. So by that point, you had already been playing a couple years. Right?
Yeah.
So what, I guess, how did that band come together? Like, were you going to shows? Do you remember, like, the bands, like, had you heard Beat Happening, or was it, like, an unconscious influence?
Definitely. Yeah, no, we all loved Beat Happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Beat Happening was, like, my favorite band when I was a senior in high school, I think. But,
how'd you get into that, like, that sort of stuff? Was that just, like, around, or? Because that seems like, to me, so maybe it's just being where I'm from, it seemed like that was, like, a deeper cut thing that came to me much later.
Yeah. Man, I think like I really like the Microphones.
Mm-hmm.
They were on K Records,
mm-hmm.
and then I think like I just like was on the K Records website, and like I also really liked Mira. She was on K Records, and I just like started getting into like basically everything on the K roster.
Yeah,
and like so obviously like I found out about Beat Happening like not too long after that.
Yeah. Once you're in the K trail, it comes pretty
exactly,
quick.
Yeah.
I guess. And I guess that also that music plays such a role in defining, like, I guess, your personal aesthetic, does it? Like, like it seems like lo-fi is something that really has influenced you a lot, like as an outsider.
I mean, definitely, but I mean, I wouldn't say that any particular style of music has influenced me more than another. Like, I also love like pop music,
mm-hmm.
and like I was talking about Billy Joel earlier. I still really love Billy Joel. Like the Carpenters are probably my favorite band right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just like good music, and it doesn't have to be like lo-fi or hi-fi or anything. It just has to be cool, and I have to like it.
What's your favorite Carpenters song?
Probably Superstar.
Yeah, I was gonna say that song.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the Strokes the first time they played Toronto, and they came up to the Sonic Youth version.
Yeah.
And I still think the Sonic Youth version.
I really love the Sonic Youth version too. But yeah, the first 2 Carpenters records are both like brilliant front to back. They have a lot of like really good deep cuts on their first 2 albums. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also they worked with like amazing songwriters. Like also they had some great.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But like Paul Williams is like.
Oh, I love Paul Williams.
Oh, I love
him. President of ASCAP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you on ASCAP?
I think I'm with Canadian, so I'm SoCan.
Okay.
But I think we might be with ASCAP too in America. Like it's a partnership agreement.
Yeah, every time I get my ASCAP check, there's like a little letter from Paul Williams. I'm like, yes. It's great.
I met him one time. I interviewed him, but the goddamn mic didn't work.
No.
So there's just like this pantomime of me like freaking out about meeting the guy from Phantom of the Paradise.
Oh my god, yeah.
That's my favorite movie.
That movie's fucked up. It's great.
It's great, eh?
Yeah.
Like that's one of those things that still holds up, and that is a deep cut movie.
It definitely is.
But you know where it was really popular?
Where?
Winnipeg, Canada.
Really?
Apparently, it's
interesting.
It sets like the box office record there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like one of the highest grossing movies. That's where.
I can't imagine it being really popular anywhere, like besides with like weirdos.
Well, Winnipeg does have, that's where Propagandi's from. That's where The
Mm-hmm.
Weaker Than's from. That's where like some of the best Canadian films from.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that would be the fertile soil that would.
Totally, yeah.
So I guess like you start a polyester. Where your B-52s were a big influence and things like that. Were you playing basement shows and
upholstery, not polyester?
Oh god.
Yeah, sorry.
I've got my John Waters obsession coming out.
Yeah.
So you start upholstery, and where do you kind of go from there?
So upholstery, upholstery started as a recording project when we were like 16 or something like that, but we were 18 when we started playing shows, and we were pretty much an active band when I was a senior in high school and a freshman in college, and then Lillian, who was playing tambourine for us, she moved to California after that, and then we kind of broke up because like we couldn't be a band without her. Like the band was essentially like it was me, Christina, Lillian, and Josh, and like if any one of us weren't there, like it wasn't like worth it anymore. So then I started a band in Brooklyn.
So just you go on to the next one. So did you guys put anything out? You were a recording project. Were you guys releasing demos? Or?
We had a MySpace page with our music on it.
Yeah.
We recorded a cassette and we sold that at shows.
That's
and
awesome.
I still have like all the recordings on my computer somewhere. And then we recorded a CD. Like we re-recorded a lot of our songs like a year later with like in like more like hi-fi sound. And like those recordings are like, I don't think they're as good. I think like there's like a real magic to like our first cassette. But yeah, there like some good stuff definitely came out of our second recording process, and I don't think we ever sold that or anything.
Was it like was it a cassette culture with these bands? Like, were you guys all putting out cassettes or?
Not that I remember. I think a lot of people just did CDRs.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were like, we thought we were so cool. Like we didn't want to do CDs.
What's your high school called again?
Ridgewood High School.
You got to put it like "Killed by Ridgewood."
Oh my god!
CD of like,
oh wow!
All these bands' demos, like just collecting some of these stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like they're still in my parents' house somewhere. Like I really hope that I can find them.
I'm sure most of these people, even though I doubt they'd admit it, have it somewhere buried on their computers.
Definitely,
too.
yeah,
Stuff
definitely.
Like that. So,
that would be amazing.
That'd be so awesome.
There's so many good deep cuts. Killed by Ridgewood, I love it. It's so good.
Well, you know what? I'd be very happy to see that come out because it's funny. Like, when you think about it, how much stuff comes out of like one class in one high school. You know, like. I can't think of
me and Colleen Green. I'm on tour with Colleen Green right now, and me and Colleen are actually our last show of tour is going to be in Ridgewood, New Jersey. We're playing at like the Unitarian Church. It's going to be pretty weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like people from Brooklyn are like interested in booking in Ridgewood now, just because of like Ridgewood's history at this point.
Yeah,
it's so crazy.
And I guess also, you can probably find cool venues that aren't the same venues you always have to play in New York there.
Oh, yeah.
How far is it from New York?
It's about an hour with, like, standard traffic, but you can make it in a half hour if, like, there's, like, no traffic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sorry, you moved to Brooklyn, and you were saying?
Yeah, I moved to Brooklyn to go to art school, and then I, like, I don't know, I just started going to shows, punk shows in Brooklyn. Like, I went to Todd P shows, and I went to, like, the DIY punk shows, and basically any show that, like, was cheap and had bands I never heard of, I would go to.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I went to, like, so many shows back then and started meeting people. And then I started a band called Bossy with my friend Jamie Ewing and my friend Justin Sullivan. Justin, who would later be in the Babies with me. And Jamie, who was in an awesome band called Bent Out of Shape, and he sadly passed away several years ago. So that was my second band. And we just would play shows locally. We were a band for about a year.
Who were some of the bands that you guys were playing with? Like, who were some of the bands in that Brooklyn scene?
Let's see.
At that point.
Bent Out of Shape, Chipanther,
oh, yeah.
Bringers, The Good Good, Matt and Kim.
Yeah.
Matt and Kim, like, when they were, like, opening shows... That was pretty crazy because they, like, got huge.
They got huge.
Yeah, but they were, like, I remember, like, seeing them, like, opening shows so many times. Like in people's, like, living rooms.
I remember that. Yeah, I don't think I ever saw them, obviously, on that point, but I remember them doing the Fuck Yeah Fest tour.
Yeah.
And then it just seemed like the next day they were doing, like, a cell phone commercial
Oh,
or
totally. Yeah. They blew up. Like, but good for them. They're, like, awesome people, you know?
Yeah, it was cool when it happened. Like, I don't think I've ever met them at all, but it's good when it happens with nice people.
Mm-hmm. They're two of the nicest people. I love them. But yeah, like, those were a lot of the bands. I'm trying to think of anybody else. I remember, I don't know. Yeah, those are, like, the main ones that come to my memory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So who were, like, some of the, I guess, influences on you when you performed Bossy?
I don't know. Your typical stuff, I guess. Just, like, punk, like, poppy punk. I don't know. Like... I guess, like, I was listening to, like, that band, The Soviets, a lot at the time. Mm-hmm. I really liked them.
Mm-hmm. They were on Fat, right?
I don't remember.
I think their third LP came out on Fat Records, I remember, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember at all. But, yeah, I was, like, listening to them. I really liked The Spits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shit like that.
So, as far as, like, what was, like, the... because that was just before... I guess it was just after when Brooklyn, like, started... getting really popular, right? Like it was just starting to kind of like blow up at that point.
Yeah, like I feel like Brooklyn's like first wave was like in the early 2000s with the AAS and stuff.
Yeah.
And like TV on the radio.
Yep.
And then like in the mid 2000s it was like awesome because like there was just so much cool DIY shit going on all the time, and like it still like wasn't very expensive at all, and it just felt like really free and really cool. And like it hasn't really felt that way to me for a long time now, even though like I don't know, like a lot of the bands that were around back then like might have arguably been not that good, but it didn't even matter. Like I feel like the sense of like this like the spirit of like something in the air, it was like really magical and special. Yeah,
it's almost like when the bands get too good, the scene starts getting worse.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and I don't know, like I feel like at the time like nobody was concerned with like, you know, getting a publicist or a booking agent or like fucking like getting their song on some blog or anything like that, and everybody was just like so DIY, and it was great. And I feel like, I mean, I'm like positive that still exists, but if it does, like I'm like not in the loop, you know. And I don't know, it's like I feel like so many bands now just want their song to be featured on a blog, and they want a booking agent. And I mean, like I think that there's definitely a DIY scene somewhere in New York right now that I'm just like not aware of. Like there has to be, but
yeah. I think also it's like the whole game's changed
exactly
so much,
yeah.
right? Like like getting on a label at that point, like, you know, once again speaking from here, but it just seemed like such an impossibility.
Yeah.
And the fact that any label would be, you know, let alone like a huge indie label would be asking to put out your records.
Totally, yeah.
You know, it just was just like, yeah, fuck it.
Totally.
Maybe someone will care.
Yeah.
So did Bossy ever tour?
We played the Fest in Gainesville.
Wow, that's a pretty.
We because Justin, our drummer, was in that band Ringers, and Ringers was on tour down in Gainesville, like to play the fest also, and like the people at the fest asked us if we would play it. I'm like, yeah, like I'll just like we should just fly. So like me and Jamie like flew down to Gainesville and like met up, and we played this show that was like pretty bad because I got way too drunk or something, and like, you know, I wasn't like really used to like, you know, pacing myself before a show yet. So yeah, I was not used to that at all. And I hung out in Gainesville for a few days, and it was really fun. But other than that, we didn't tour.
Was that like a big thing going into the fest for you? Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, it was. I don't know.
I've never been, but people talk about it like it's like the punk rock gathering point.
I think it definitely was at that point. I don't know, like if I would have any interest in going at this stage in my life, but like, you know, 10 years ago, it was 10 years ago. Holy shit. Yeah, 10 years ago. Yeah, it definitely seemed like everybody who I wanted to hang out with was going to be there, you know?
Yeah. And like every band you want to see. It was always like the same weekend we did the Fucked Up weekend. So
true. Yeah.
We never got to go. So at what point did Bossy ever put anything out, or?
We put out an LP after Jamie passed away. And I'm actually selling them with me tonight. I have one that I can give you if you want.
No, I know. I've got the LP.
Cool.
I meant, sorry, but did you guys ever put anything back then out? Like,
we had a 7-inch.
You had a 7-inch?
We had a 7-inch.
Wow, I don't think I've ever seen that ever.
Yeah, we had a 7-inch.
So,
it might have even been a split 7-inch. I think it was a split 7-inch with like, I don't know, like Hunchback or something. I don't remember, but we had like a split 7-inch, and that's it.
Did you guys put it out yourselves, or?
I think Salinas put it out.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we had a cassette tape.
Mm-hmm.
We had a cassette tape that Jamie made called Bossy and Friends, and it was like 5 Bossy songs, and then like an upholstery song, a Bent Out of Shape song, and like something else. It was like
mixtape.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but like mostly Bossy, but also like our other stuff.
So did Upholstery ever tour, or you guys just like only New Jersey?
No, we played a bunch of shows in New York too.
Yeah.
But
sorry, New York, New Jersey area.
New York, New Jersey. Yeah. I think we might have gone as far as Philly. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you were super young then too.
Yeah, and we were like super young, and I feel like I really wanted to tour, but like I just had no idea how to like go about booking a tour, and like neither did anybody else, so it just never happened.
Yeah, like I guess like you could do the Book Your Own Fucking Life Max and Rock and Roll book.
Yeah,
but like it was such a crapshoot.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I like remember like posting on the internet about like how do you book a tour, and like people like were recommending that stuff to me, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to do this. Yeah. Like this is too much like stress for me right now.
I actually have panic dreams thinking about my friends' bands that did that and like booked their whole tour based on that. Like you've never met these people, you have no idea. It's just random,
totally.
You know? And like I would be supposed to go on these tours and it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
I still have like nightmares about being on those tours where
Oh
like
my God.
every show falls through.
Yeah.
You're trapped in that van forever.
Totally. Yeah, I didn't really tour until Vivian Girls, and yeah, Katie had never like been on tour either, really, and neither had I. But our drummer at the time, Frankie, she had toured before, but I don't know. At that point, we were like in our early 20s, so we were like ready to just start booking tours. We were like, we can do this now.
Yeah, I guess before we get to the forming of Vivian Girls, like, what happened to Bossy? Like, at what point did it kind of like?
Everybody just lost interest,
Yeah.
more or less. Like, not so much me, but like the other two guys did. And then, I don't know, like they were like busy with like work and stuff, or like other bands, other projects. Like, they didn't really have enough time for it, and that was like pretty much okay with me for some reason. And then and then around that time, like Vivian Girls began, like in March 2007.
So where did was Vivian Girls like? Was it okay with you because it was already starting type thing, or like Bossy dissolving?
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of like Bossy never broke up exactly. It just like we're just like, oh, look, let's not play for a while. Like we've done enough for now. Mm-hmm. And then Vivian Girls started, and then like once that got off the ground, like we were all super motivated with that band, and like then it just kept going, you know.
With Vivian Girls, like, was it when you guys formed? How much of that sound kind of was like an idea, or how much of that was just come out and jamming? Because like it was like such a conceptual, like sonically, conceptually brilliant band right from the get-go.
Thank you. I think like it came together pretty early on.
Yeah.
Like I was like talking with them, and I was like, yo, well, let's have it be like white person meets girl groups, and they're like, yeah. And then like it just like happened. Was
Manson, like, not that Charles Manson as a human being, but were those records, like the vocals on those records at all an influence? Because that's what always the first demos I think I heard.
Oh yeah,
kind of vaguely reminded
me. That's awesome.
Of that.
Thank you. I really do love those recordings.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say that they were like a direct influence on us or anything, but like they're definitely awesome. I do love Charles Manson's music. Like, yeah, it's very good.
You have to separate the art from the artist with that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, as much as you can, but yeah, because like I think the vocals, the way they were like kind of like washed out and then still up front at the same time,
yeah,
like,
totally,
very much reminded me of those kind of like choral arrangements you would do, type thing. So when Vivian Girls started, like it seemed kind of like right from the beginning, like it was. There was a buzz, like, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Did it feel that way to you, or was it?
Yeah,
like...
definitely. Yeah. I mean, I don't really know like why, but it definitely felt like a special band. Like from very early on, and like I don't know, like I was like I think we all were in the same boat that we were like, yeah, like we can do this, like we can make something with this band or something, you know. And it was I don't know, it was a special feeling.
Yeah. So what was like I guess, like, what was your first indication? Like, actually, you guys did a demo, or was it the 7-inch that came out first? That first 7-inch?
We did a demo first. We recorded a demo, like, after being a band for maybe 3 months.
I think that's when we asked you, like, right around then to sing on that record, too.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember Jonah went down to New York to work with you guys, and Mike had played me the demos of you guys singing. He had demos, and was like, check out this band.
Yeah, totally.
Is that
Mike Hunchback?
No, Mike Fucked Up.
Oh, Mike Fucked Up. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like Fucked Up was like first Katie's connection before it was mine. You know what I mean? So like, I don't remember very much, but yeah, like we recorded that stuff like in June 2007, and then we recorded another set of demos in the fall of that year, and then we recorded our album in January of 2008.
But the single came out before the album came out, right?
The single came out around March, like because I remember we had some at South by Southwest, and then our album came out in like May, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they were all like crazy sold out right away.
Yeah.
Did that come out on Capture Tracks or? Capture
Tracks was not a label yet. It came out on Plays with Dolls.
Okay.
Which is I don't think a label any longer. It was like run by our friend Matt Molnar from Brooklyn, and then we had another.
Matt Molnar's label.
Yeah. Okay. You know Matt Molnar?
Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay, cool, totally. Yeah. And then Woodsist put out our second 7-inch.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then who put out the LP?
Our friend's label, Mauled by Tigers.
Okay.
Which I also don't think is a label anymore.
No, I don't think so either.
And then In the Red bought it from Mauled by Tigers, and then In the Red re-released it.
Yeah, so I guess like before we get to in the red kind of thing happening. What was the first kind of like? What was the first tour you guys did?
Oh my
was that
god!
Tour that we did together? No, you guys.
No. That was far from our first tour. Our first tour was in July 2007. We had been a band for maybe 4 months. We toured to this festival in Chicago and back with this band Pumpkin Pie. I don't know if you remember them.
No.
They were like a pretty good pop punk band.
Was it called Pumpkin
Pie? Get it?
Like a pumpkin pie?
Like a pumpkin pie.
I get it. I get it now.
They were like this like pretty cool band at the time.
Were they from New York?
No, I think they're from somewhere weird, like Florida or like Alabama or like
okay.
I don't remember where they're from, but or maybe Texas. I don't know. Like I think they were from down south, which I feel like I should remember, but I don't. But yeah.
How'd you make contact with them or type thing?
Well, our friends at Mauled by Tigers, who put out our LP originally, they were doing this festival in Chicago, Mauled by Tigers Fest, and they asked us to play it, and we like really wanted to do it. So then Katie like MySpace messaged every single band on Mauled by Tigers Fest, asking if we could tour with them like on the way there and back, and Pumpkin Pie was like down.
Who other bands play that?
We played a show with Tyvek in Detroit. That was cool.
Yeah.
I completely forget what other bands were there that year. I don't know. Like probably like a lot of the same bands that I like had mentioned earlier about like the bands that were in Brooklyn and stuff. I don't know. I think like Canadian Rifle. I don't know. Like I'm like really digging deep here because I haven't really thought about this stuff in a long time. But
that's what I like to do though, Cassie. I mine your thoughts for the little tidbits of demo only bands.
Hell yeah. So that tour was really funny. We played like 6 shows. No, we played like 4 shows in 10 days or something crazy like that, or like either 4 or 6 shows in 10 days. It was like such a poorly run tour. But it was fun. I don't know. We had a good time. And then our second tour was at this band Ultra Dolphins, and we toured from New York to the South and back.
Was that South by Southwest or no?
No, that was just like to get like I was still going to art school at this time. By the way, like the band started when I was a junior in college. So we had to like tour like only when I wasn't in school. So we toured like during like Christmas vacation, like between like the week or so after New Year's. Yeah. And then I went back to school.
That perfect time, the time that everyone loves to drive around.
Yeah. Well, we also like wanted to go south, like it was like cold in New York. We wanted to go south.
That's the best place to tour. I guess it could be way worse if you toured north.
Yeah, right? and then we flew to South by Southwest that year, 2008, and then we did a full US tour the day after I graduated college. I graduated college and then we left for tour the next day. I remember like we planned it out like we would go like right after I graduated. And then like by the time I got back from that first full US tour, like the band was like, being written about everywhere. And I was like, wow, it's like perfect timing. Like I like graduated school. I'm like, now I'm in like a cool band. This is awesome. You know what I mean?
That worked out perfectly.
It really did. I felt very lucky.
Yeah, because if it happens before, you might have fucked up school. Oh
my God. I like missed like a week of classes to go to South by Southwest. And I like told all my teachers in advance, but like, it was an art school. Like most of them just understood. They were like, oh, cool. And like, also I was an illustration major and I was like submitting Vivian Girls art to my classes because like, that's what I was like working on most of the time. And I was like, oh, like didn't do like my actual homework. Like, I'm just going to like submit like what I'm doing for my band. And like, it was like a really funny like last semester.
Yeah, I bet at that point it was, were you already kind of like, did you already kind of know that you're going to be doing Vivian Girls full time for the next couple years?
I did, definitely. I like knew it pretty early on. Like, I like could tell that like it was a band that like, was going to go places or something. Yeah. Yeah.
So when, I guess like, when did the LP came out just after South by Southwest, right?
It came out when we were in the middle of our full US tour. Like May 2008, something like that.
And it sold out immediately, right?
It sold out immediately.
300 press or something, the first press run, or 500?
Yeah,
and it sold out immediately.
Yeah, it sold out immediately. Like, they gave us like 100 or something, and then they sold the other 400 immediately out, like online, and then it was going for $100 on eBay.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's what I knew.
Yeah.
It was
I was like
time
sick.
I got one.
And I was like, Give me that money. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I remember Jay Reatard would have the stuff that would sell for money. He'd always keep a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
And sell it on tour for as much as it'd be selling for online.
Definitely, yeah, for sure.
That's the way you game that system.
Yeah.
But,
No, I definitely still have a few copies of that first pressing of that record somewhere.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure it's not really worth that much right now, but still there.
Oh,
For
absolutely,
the
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's
Who knows?
I still don't have a copy of the first press. I got a second or third press, I think.
Yeah.
Because by the time it came out, it was already
true.
$100-some-odd record type thing.
So crazy.
It was also funny because you mentioned playing with Tyvek, and it feels like that was just kind of like this moment before the next sort of scene that would be the scene for the next few years.
Yeah.
Kind of took hold.
Yeah, definitely.
Cause Commotion, I guess, was going in New York.
Oh,
too,
yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah, Cause Commotion, duh. I, totally forgot about them. Yeah, we're really good friends with them, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I play a lot of shows with them, for sure.
They kind of actually, if I was going to think of two bands that kind of had not similar sounds at any stretch, but, similar sound sensibilities, it would be you guys and them.
That's awesome. Thanks. Yeah, they're a really good band, for
awesome,
sure,
man.
yeah.
I think a really underrated band, too.
Definitely underrated. I feel like more people should know about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird because it's one of those things that there's just so much stuff coming out. I guess that's the problem with today is there's so much content coming out that people don't have a chance to go back and reassess and kind of be like, oh, I missed out on that. We used to.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like hyper release time.
Totally.
So I'm not going to keep you because I know you got to get up to the show and kind of get everything
How
going.
long have we been doing this?
35 minutes.
All right, cool. That's good.
Yeah,
That's a good solid chunk. I like it.
You want to do this for part one?
This is part one.
We'll do part one now.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Cassie.
Thank you so
for doing
much.
This. Awesome. And so
Cool.
we'll get to
Hell yeah.
start the Vivian Girls journey. We got to get the whole rest thing next time.
We definitely will. Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.